We are in the section of object-oriented programming, and I guess we already reached one section about the how we can put some arguments and how we can define all the methods in the class. So if you still remember, last time we are making one class which is student, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4 methods, and the methods to set choose score have one argument. You can change the score when you have one object. So this is the example. We have the S1, and the S1 is an object, and the object is having two data. So first is the P as the student name and Yongin as the city. How do we know that P is the name and Yongin is the city? Because we define the argument. The first is the student name, and we are going to put it into the student name, and the other is the student city. We are going to put it into the variable student city. If you want to get the name, then you can just use the method get student name. If you want to get the city, you can just use the method get student city. So you already have okay, let me run again this code. So you have the code here, we have the constructor, and then we have the student name, and then we have the student city, and then we can set the score and we can get the score. We have two students, and then we have one method get student name, so we can see B and we can see C. If we call the object S1, then we will get B. If we call the object S2, we will get the name C. If we use the object S1, then we will get the city Yongin. If we use the S2, we will get the city Seoul. And if you want to see the score, the original score is 0. But if you want to set the score with a new value, then you will get the new value of score. It means the value in the respective object will be updated. If you want to call the S2 get student score, it is still 0 because we just updated the S1. We are not updating S2. Let's say I want to set the score as 80. Then you will get the student score of S2 is 80 because you have different score with the S1. Okay, so that's the thing about the object and all the methods that you created. So while assessing the score result 0, you need to set the score if it is required. Yeah. In this case, I'm setting the score 80, and you will get the 80 in the S1. Now, I want to teach you if we have a new file. I have a file, and the object is in a file. So I have one Python file. Yeah, here, in many cases, objects can be created in a file. A file, it can be a Python file or it can be text file. And Python file can import other files, object to execute functions. Objects in a file can be executed by calling the file name. Or alternatively, the file can contain main method so that some functions will run once the file is called. If you are using Java, I guess you remember that every time we want to execute the Java program, we need to have main method. The same with Python. If you have one main method, then you can execute all the comments. So it is also a kind of program. We will see later about the main method. Now let's see one example if you are going to create a file. Now I'm going to create a file and the name, let's make it auth event. And the extension will be .py. If it is .py, it is a Python file. You can click plus here and you will see a console and Python 3 decent console, and you can check other kind of file. You can have terminal, you can have text file, markdown, Python file. Okay. Oh, we have Python file. You can create the new Python file here. And it is automatically created .py. You can rename by click the right mouse, click, and then click the rename to rename the file into auth event. Yeah, in the previous version of the Jupyter Notebook, there is no Python file. In that case, you can use text file, and then you can change the extension into .py. Now, let's, because you already have the text file and then you already rename it, okay? Now, let's copy and paste the code in the next page. In the auth underbar event.py, let's put this code. So can you understand this code? We are going to check auth event, and we are giving one data, or we are giving one argument. When we call this method, we will run this statement, n modulus 2. If n modulus 2 equals to 0, then print even. If not, then print auth. So it's simple, okay? Now, how if I have that Python file and I want to connect my Jupyter notebook to that Python file? The first is we need to import. So you can go to your Jupyter notebook. First, I need to import. What do you want to import? I need to call the file name, which is auth and event. In Python, they know if you are going to import a name, it means this is the Python file name. Otherwise, yeah, you need to define what is the extension. But mostly all the libraries will be in something dot py. If you import, then Python knows this file will be used in your environment. And after you have the import function, you can call the auth event. The auth event is automatically being an object. If you put the dot, when you press tab, okay, you can see in the auth event, there is one function, which is check auth event. Okay, so this is the same with this one. Check auth event. There is one function. So when we create an object here, the object auth event now becomes an object that you can call the method. And let's call the function. In this case, I want to check one number. Let's say I want to check number 2. What is the result? Even. Okay. Let's suppose I want to check number 3. Then it is odd. You can do with other ways. Let's say I want to make an object 1. And the object 1 will be the odd event. And I want to use the function without argument. So I can use like this one. So I will use O1 as the function check odd event. And whenever I use the O1 and I put a number, let's say 5, then the result will show as the condition in the check odd event. So I can also define, let's say I want to put O17. Yeah, it's odd. O16, we have even. It means you are going to put this function into this object. Yeah, in this case, if you have your team project later, you can make your own Java file and then you can just transfer your Java file to your friends and you can run in the Jupyter Notebook. So you don't need to put all the items in the Jupyter Notebook. You can put some of the code in the Python file. It's up to you. There are many options to do with the Python file. I would like to take one example from the book about the object-oriented. So from the book, there is one example about credit card. In the credit card class, there are 5 data members. Okay, the class name is credit card. And there are 5 data members, which are customer, bank, account, balance, and limit. And there are 7 methods. Here are the methods: get behavior, get bank, get account, make payment with one parameter, and get balance, get limit, charge, price with the parameter. If you see this one, I hope that you can convert this idea into the Python code. Now, this is one example from the book. There is one class credit card. Um, let's see. I guess if this, yeah, you can take the credit card.py, which is one example from the book. Let's double click and you can see this file. It is one example from the book, and let's say that okay, for convenience, maybe I will just use here in this Jupyter notebook. Actually, you can call the class from the Jupyter notebook and then you can run it. But let me just use this way. We have a class, and the class name is credit card. Def init. What is init? It is a constructor. So the credit card instance can be created with this init method. And here we have some descriptions. The initial balance is 0. And we have customer, bank, account, and limit. If you take a look on the class diagram, we have customer, and then bank, account, balance, and limit. So there are 5 data members. So we have 5: customer, bank, account, limit. And the initial balance is 0. In this case, the author of the book, they use one variable with underbar. And every time you call the credit card class with 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters, it will go to each of the variable here. So the customer will go to customer, bank will go to the bank with underscore, account will go to this account, and limit will go to the variable limit. The balance will start from 0. There are some methods or functions here. Get customer, and don't forget to put self. Here we want to get the customer name. I want to get the bank name. So just return self.bank. I want to know the account name. Then we use self.account. I want to know the limit. So I can just call the variable limit. I want to know the balance. So I will call the variable balance. It means if you have 5 data members, at least you will have 5 functions. At least you will have 5 methods. Here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 methods to get for every data members. And there are 2 additional methods. The first is charge. Charge given price to the card assuming sufficient credit limit. So if you want to pay your credit card, so if you want to pay with your credit card, then the company will check whether you already over for the limit or not. If it is over the limit, then you cannot pay with your credit card. This is the same. Yeah, we need to check every time you pay. There should be a verification. Here is the verification. If the price plus the balance is more than the limit, then yeah, the card will not work. If it is not the case, then just plus the price. So if the charge exceeds the limit, then you cannot accept the charge. Make payment. So if you have your credit card, let's say you pay directly to the bank. So the balance will be deducted. The balance will be reduced. That's why we have the balance will be minus equal amount. Okay. That's the two functions, charge and amount. Now you can see there is one statement like this one. We call this is the main method. If name equals to main, so this is the main method. So we are going to execute all these statements in the main method. The wallet, okay. Let's assume a wallet is a list. Okay, you already know this is a list. And wallet dot append. Do you know what is append? We are going to add one data. Let's see. I have list one as a list, and then I have list one dot append red. So I can see this one will have one value. Now I have list one dot append blue. If I call list one, then there will be two values, red and blue. Okay. Again, if I want to append green, then the list one will have an additional element, which is green. That's the meaning by append. Okay. Now we are going to append one data. What is the data? We are going to call credit card. What is the credit card? This is the class name. And then we have four data. John Bowman, California Savings. Okay, this is the number. And this is also a number. So what are the data? The first will be the customer name, and the second will be the bank name. ACNT, it is the account. Okay, here there's a definition, the account identifier or account bank name. Bank account number. And then we have the credit limit. How much you can get some limit for your credit card. Then here is the information for the first object. Here is the information for the second object. And this is the information for the third object. Yeah, let's suppose we just use the same name, John Bowman, but the bank name is different. And the bank name he saved in this California Savings with this identifier, and he has limit 2,500. The second is in this institution, and the third is in this institution. So they have different limit. Okay, now we want to make just a random value. This is a random value from 1 until 17. So we have like 17 times. Do you still remember what's range? Okay, I hope you can check again what you already learned before. For 17 times, I want to do the charts. What is charts here? Here is the chart. So the price will be accumulated. I just want to make it as random from 1 until 17, and yeah, I would like to put the value into the wallet index 0. What is wallet index 0? This one. What is wallet index 1? This one. Okay. And then wallet index 2, this account. And for this account, I just give any value from 1 until $17. In the wallet index 1, I give the price 2 multiplied by value. In the index 2, I give the 3 multiplied by value. So just make a kind of transaction. After we have the transaction, all the transactions will be accumulated, and I would like to check what is the current status. We have C, and we are going to check from all the index 0, 1 to 3. Okay, we have 3. And the customer, I want to see for every customer, I want to see for every bank, I want to see for every account, I want to see for every of the limit, I want to see for every of the balance. Now there is one while loop. While the wallet C, and if I check the balance is more than 100, let's make payment 100. Can you understand this one? If it is more than 100, then I would like to make payment. So in the make payment means, I pay to the bank, so the balance will be reduced. And the new balance will be printed. Okay, so if you run this, you will get directly the result from this one. We will not see this result. We will just see the display because we are printing. Okay? We print all the results here. We do not print here. So you can see the result like this one. John Bowman, bank account, limit, balance, new balance. And then the customer John Bowman in the bank account and so on. And the balance is 136. Here, if the balance is greater than 100, we need to make payment. Then we make the payment $100. So the balance will be reduced by 100. So the new balance is 36. The same with the second account. The balance is originally 272. We pay 100. So the new balance is 172. It is still more than 100. We pay again 100. So the new balance is 72. The third account, the balance is 408. So we pay for every 100. Then there will be 4 times until the last new balance equals to 8. Okay, I hope you can review and try to understand the code. So this is the code that I already shared to you, and you can review it later. We have the main method. It will execute all of the code found in the file. It is a special variable. So when your module or your code is imported by another, or when your module or code is the main program. If you are making this Python code, if the credit card is the main program, then you can put all together in the credit card. For example, yeah, you know how to import. So if you import from another file, then you can put into this one Python file and then you can execute at once. This is the main method. I think the idea is still the same with what you learn in Java if you still have the memory in Java. Let's just use this one to make it easier. Okay, any questions? So let's go to the next step about the object-oriented design principles. In our course, there will be a lot of object class, and we are going to import many files. That's why if you can understand this basic, I think it will not be difficult for the next steps. Okay? In the object-oriented design principle, we are using this object-oriented because of the modularity. The modularity means we have module. We do not put all the things in one program. We need to make the module, maybe the camera module, or the sound module, the microphone module, or the television module, and so on. Okay? So you have your mobile phone and you have many applications. Every application, they have their own specific module. Abstraction. The idea of abstraction is similar to a kind of design. When you want to make a house, you need to design. When you want to make this room, you need to make a design. The idea is the same with the programming. You need to have a design. If you want to understand about the student, yeah, you need to make a design. What is the student properties? Okay, I want to know the student name. I want to know the student ID. I want to know the student address. So we call this is an abstraction. Encapsulation. In encapsulation, we can define whether the class will be included in another class or it will have a dependency with another class. Later on, we will see like whether we are going to put as a public or as a private or as a protected. And polymorphism. So polymorphism, we have some concept about this one. Let's see. I think I give you this definition. The modularity is the process of decomposing a program into a set of modules, so as to reduce the overall complexity of the problem. So you can make functions, yeah, or you can make one class and you can make different class to make the complexity become less complex. Okay, this one, let's say I want to make a median calculation. Do you know median? If I have this number, 2.7, 3.5, 5.1, 8.3. The idea is first we need to sort the number. And the second is we need to check if the total number in the sequence is an odd or even. If the total number is a sequence, if the total number in the sequence is odd, then we can just choose this number as the median. If it is not odd, then we need to sum the two numbers and divide it by 2. And this will be the median. So if the total number in a sequence is even, then the median is the mean of the two middlemost numbers. Then it means we can make several modules. The first module is to sort the number. And the next module is the odd even. You already have the odd even.py. And next you can have the module to calculate the median. So this is the step when you want to make your algorithm. Abstraction. In the abstraction, we are focusing on the essential features of an element or object in the OOP. And it is ignoring its extraneous or accidental properties. The essential features are relative to the context in which the object is being used. So as I mentioned to you, if I want to see the object about students, so I need to know what are the properties of student. And let's say this one is the example about vehicle. All the classes share the similar properties. SUV, sedan, truck. So most of them, they have wheel. They have the body. They have window. Okay? They have brake. They have the accelerator. They have the steer. They have the seat. So we can put all those similar properties into one class. We call it the abstract class. So everything which is having the window, body, steer, seat, wheel, and so on, we call it vehicle. There are some concepts later about the abstract method, abstract class, and interface. I think I will stop here first. Let's have a break. I will continue after the break.